This is Dave Swift, and you're listening to No Good Music.
In 1991, that's when you auditioned for Jools Holland. Can you tell us a little bit about your first audition? What that was like? How you heard about
Sure.
it? Or
Yeah. Well, okay. So when I moved to London in '88, I moved here because I'd already been a pro musician for like 7 years or something like that. But the work I was doing, it was great. I was doing cruise ships. I was doing theatre work and stuff, and it was great fun. I was seeing the world and I was earning money, but it wasn't overly fulfilling musically.
mm-hmm.
And I was at home listening to Jaco Pastorius and Stanley Clarke and all this kind of stuff. And I was trying to play all of that music. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get to play anything like this if I keep doing cruise ships and shows and stuff like that. So I moved to London because I thought there's going to be more opportunities there. And I started to do jazz gigs, and I made sure that I did gigs where I wasn't reading because I could already do that. I was always a good sight reader. And I thought, well, if I come to London and start doing that again, I'm going to get asked to do the same stuff, maybe West End shows or that kind of thing. Not as though there's anything wrong with that, but I wanted to do, I wanted to work with improvising musicians, creative musicians. So I started to do jazz gigs. Predominantly on double bass because that's what people wanted. But the fact that I could play both double bass and bass guitar was a big advantage, because back then not many people doubled up. There was a small group of guys that were good bass guitarists, a small group playing double bass, but there were even less guys doing both. So that was a big advantage for me. So I was doing jazz gigs. And I was kind of loving it, sort of improvised music, playing with very creative players. One of the guys I was working with was a saxophone player. He had already got the gig with Jools. Now, bearing in mind back then, this is late '80s, early '90s. Jools wasn't the person he is now. He wasn't as famous as he is now because he'd been with that, the band Squeeze, the British pop group.
Yeah, we love Squeeze. Yeah.
Well, he was a founding member, right? And he was only on the first, I think, 3 albums of Squeeze.
Yeah.
Sure. So what happened is that the Jools kept leaving Squeeze and then going back, and then leaving and going back.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they were thrilled at this. Because it was obviously, are you going to stay or what's going on? But anyway, when he eventually left, he didn't have his TV show that he has now. So he was starting from scratch. He didn't have a radio show. He didn't have a TV show. He wasn't the household name that he is. Right. So. And the band was smaller as well. It was a 9-piece band. It was 5 rhythm and 4 horns. It's not as big as it is today. It was very, very small. So this sax player had already got the gig with Jools. And then Jools had obviously, Pino had left. And then Jools had said to the guys in the band, listen, if any of you know a bass player, particularly who plays double bass, let me know. So this sax player said, Jools is looking for a bass player. Do you want to give it a try? So now you have to bear in mind that I was really happy suffering from my art at that point. I wasn't earning a lot of money. In fact, I was probably earning less money than I'd ever earned in my life. But musically and spiritually, I was as happy as I'd ever been because I was playing this great music called jazz. And also, like I said, Jools wasn't as famous as he is now. He didn't have a TV show. So when I got asked, I was kind of very casual about it. Okay, I'll give it a
try.
Quite nonchalant. Quite nonchalant in those days. So, anyways, I was living in southeast London, not where I am now, because where I live now is very close to Jools' studio. From my house now, in a car, it's about a 10-minute drive maximum. Back then, it was probably about a half an hour drive. So I went to the same studio, and I'm there with my double bass. There was Jools was there, and the guitar player there too, and he's still the same guitar player to this day. And I had no clue what we were going to play. And Jules said, let's just jam. Let's just do this. So we started to play some
That's
stuff.
wide open, yeah.
Yeah.
Wide open,
Exactly.
yeah.
No cues or anything like that. Let's just do this. And and then we must have played, I don't know how long we played for, maybe half an hour, maybe longer, but something like that. And anyway, when we finished, Jules turned around to me, and he seemed happy. He wasn't looking at me with horror or anything like that. And he said, "That's really great, but we do have a few other people that we need to look at."
Yeah.
Now that to me sounded like,
you're
it's
not
like
going to hear from him
giving
again.
someone the elbow.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, he was like, next, So, and you know what? It didn't really bother me, because again, this was 1991. Jules wasn't who he is now. He didn't have the TV show. And I was packing my bass away, and he went outside with the guitar player. They came back in, and Jules said, what the heck? The gig's yours.
Wow.
We start touring in a couple of weeks. And he gave me a big sort of shopping bag full of cassette tapes of gigs. It was a big old bag of it. Like
I'm picturing that. Yeah, like Santa Claus carries.